Greetings, everyone. It's a pleasure to have each and every one of you here today at our end-of-year community town hall. As always, I'm Mihna, community lead at Oasis, and I'm truly honored to guide you through this exciting recap of the incredible journey we've had together throughout this year. But before we delve into the updates and insights from our various departments, I just want to express our sincere gratitude to all of you. Your presence, your engagement, and your passion have made this year truly remarkable for Oasis. And this is whether you're a developer, a partner, just an enthusiast, or a newcomer. I just want you to know that your contributions have played a pivotal role in the success and growth of the Oasis network. And as I said, 2023 has been an amazing year for Oasis because we've witnessed groundbreaking developments. We've formed meaningful partnerships and continue to build a vibrant and inclusive community. And today we have a really packed agenda filled with updates from our engineering, our business development, marketing, community, and operation teams. Each segment will provide a glimpse into the progress we've made and the exciting plans we have for the future. I just want you to know that as we go through each department, we encourage you to actively participate in the discussion because this town hall is a reflection of our collective achievements, and we want to hear from you. So if you have any questions or thoughts, please don't hesitate to share them in the chat here or on any of our other platforms. Our moderators are ready to gather your questions. And this is because your engagement enriches the discussion and makes this a truly interactive experience as we aim it to be. And before we kick things off, I just like to mention that Jörg Kos, our director, who was scheduled to provide the state of the network update, unfortunately couldn't make it today. However, we have prepared a special treat for you, a recording from Jörg detailing the current state of the Oasis network. So even though he can't be with us live, his insights are invaluable and we're excited to share them with you. So without further ado, let's get started on this journey through the highlights, achievements, and future plans of the Oasis network. Once again, thank you all for attending, and let's make this town hall a celebration of the incredible year we've had together. Yeah, if you guys can play the recording. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the end of the year community town hall. Unfortunately, Jörg couldn't join us this Thursday, so we decided we're gonna record his part. And thank you so much, Jörg, for agreeing to do this. I know you love our community, and our community will definitely appreciate this. So yeah, as I said, with me I have Jörg Kos, founder at Oasis Foundation. Welcome, Jörg.
Yeah, thanks, Minya, for the intro. It's cool to be here, even though this is recorded. But yeah, I like seeing the community coming together and us presenting all stuff Oasis. So let's begin.
Again, thank you. And I would like to start off with a simple question, if you want to consider it that way. Could you give us an overview of the current state of the network?
Sure. So yeah, I'm a tech guy, so naturally my response will be a bit biased towards the tech. So yeah, I would say this year has been an exciting year for Oasis. We've built a lot of infrastructure, but also, and I think this is more important for also the future, we also spent a considerable time on actually thinking about and improving the user and developer experience, which is something that in my mind is key for future adoption. And I guess the biggest thing that we did more recently is we've just completed the Eden network upgrade, which brings the network to Oasis Core 23, and that brings some important and cool features. I don't know, maybe I can briefly go over that. This is something that
yes, please.
Interesting.
I actually wanted to ask you, like, out of the recent developments, which have significantly impacted the network's performance. So that aligns perfectly.
Cool. Yeah. So it's not only about performance actually, but yeah, the performance is also one of the key things. I would say it's a balanced update. On one on one hand, we have this additional defense in depth measures. We are constantly trying to make sure that what we are offering is actually secure. It's not like security theater, that we have features there that just appear secure. So we are constantly improving the defenses of the runtimes and so on, and the key managers. So in this regard, the upgrade brings cool features like key rotations, so that periodically the key manager committees can rotate the secret keys that are used to encrypt all of the secrets for the confidential runtimes. That's very important, as it mitigates some attack vectors. The other stuff is around performance and robustness. This goes for specifically runtime performance. So things like if some nodes may be slower to respond or unavailable and so on, and now the network, the upgraded network, can handle that much better. So this should result in a much better and seamless runtime performance. With runtimes, I mean paratimes, so like Sapphire and Cypher. There's also something in there for making sure that any future runtime upgrades proceed without any downtime. Previously, like for confidential runtimes, this was a bit different and resulted in some mandatory downtime. But with this upgrade, this has been eliminated. So that is again another thing that improves the user and developer experience. Then there's stuff around network governance. As the network is maturing, it needs more governance participation from all of the stakeholders. So this upgrade actually enables two important things. One is for the delegators to vote on upgrade proposals. And the other thing is having these additional proposal types so that you can have a proposal without the need to change any code, to just like maybe update some parameters, which is something that will be useful in the future, as we need to do some adjustments, for example, to the reward schedules and so on. Right, so I guess another thing is finally enabling support for this DCAP attestations. This is something that's been on the backlog, and actually it has been implemented for a while, just not enabled. Finally, this is now enabled to support all of the most recent Intel systems. And this is also future-proof to make sure that all of our technology will continue to operate as the CPU vendors evolve their technology as well. So yeah, so we are ready for any future deprecations. Things will continue to work without issues ahead of time. So yeah. And obviously, last but not least, there's improvements for node operator user experience. We are trying to make sure that also things are as smooth as possible for the people actually running nodes, and also some performance improvements there. Yeah, so that we can try to reduce costs of running nodes actually. Right. I mean, this is about the upgrade. Also, there's also other important improvements. For example, specifically to Sapphire, our prime confidential EVM runtime. Just to mention a few, like one of the important ones is staking support, so that it's actually possible to stake from within the paratime, to stake on the consensus layer and actually get rewards. So that's important for making, so for removing any reasons for like not moving the tokens into the paratimes and using them there, like instead of having them sit in the consensus layer where they are less useful. So now we can have a combination of both. And obviously this is done through this trustless messaging mechanism that is used for these paratime communications with the consensus layer. So this all happens transparently, and it will be exposed to Sapphire smart contracts. We'll also be preparing some cool examples that, like example dApps that people can actually play with, and also build cooler stuff on top, like because you can do liquid staking and things like that on top of this support. We've also been adding various cryptography precompiles, which are useful for people that are developing custom authentication mechanisms. This is also something that goes nicely with, for example, some of the recent developments in account abstraction, which really make it very neat to be able to do things on chain without having an actual wallet. So this is, I think, something that will come later in the presentation. And yeah, it's also been cool to see a lot of ecosystem activity on Sapphire. We've also been trying to give out grants to as many as possible great projects that are being built on top of Sapphire. And I think we'll also hear more about this from our BD team later on. Yeah, I think these are like the highlights in my mind. Again, this is more tech focused, but yeah.
So I would say that we're production ready, we're future proof, we're fast, we're secure. All the reasons to go for Sapphire.
Yes, all those things. I think we are still the only production ready confidential EM solution.
Yeah, I think we are as well. I mean, I haven't found any other chain that does what we do. But I know we had some questions from the community, and this is regarding the recent challenges, I would call them, that we faced with the network upgrade, and I wanted to know how have we addressed these issues.
Sure. I think we've also released a more detailed technical blog post about what happened during the upgrade. So there were, yes, as you said, some challenges, and we needed to come up with some last-minute solutions. But yeah, definitely one thing that I would like to emphasize first is that basically in the end, the upgrade was completed successfully. There was at any point in time, there was no risk about like actually losing state or like losing funds or anything like that. It was mainly a technical challenge that needed to be overcome. And this is something that we needed to solve actually together with our decentralized set of node operators. So maybe I can do a quick recap of like what actually happened during the upgrade. Yeah, if there's any questions, obviously I'm not able to answer them here, but like definitely there are other channels where people can ask them, and we'll be happy to answer them. So basically what happened is that like we have this architecture where there's this consensus layer and there's the paratime layer. And since we have confidential runtimes, it's actually the case that each confidential runtime actually does not trust the node operators, that they are actually telling them what is the state of the world of the consensus layer. So each runtime, each confidential runtime is actually verifying this. And the problem was that there was a slight discrepancy between how the consensus layer is verifying the validity and how the runtimes are verifying the validity, because the runtimes are using a slightly different light client to do these verifications. And due to this discrepancy, there was an issue where the confidential runtimes would be rejecting the new chain as being the canonical chain. And this was basically the issue. And we needed to solve this with the help of our decentralized node operator set. So the reason why we needed to do this is because we do not actually, so we as the Oasis Foundation or the developers, we actually do not have any way to go around these checks. So this is all about our security posture, right? So the whole network is designed in a way that is actually secure, that there are no backdoors and that nobody can just extract secrets from it, not even us. So it was even for us, if we wanted to solve this challenge, we needed help from the node operators. We wouldn't be able to actually solve it without this. So yeah, at this point, I think I want to thank again all the node operators, and of course our team that has helped to actually resolve this issue, which was done very quickly. So there was, though, again, no long-term impact. And yeah, I'm very grateful for everyone who has participated in this. Yeah. So again, as I said, for any more technical details about what happened, there's a blog post published that goes into that. And if there are any more specific questions about either this or like how our security model, like what are all the mitigations that we have in place, yeah, feel free to ask in Discord, probably the best way.
Yeah, we do have the Dev Central, the node operators channels on Discord, and for our blog articles, just go to oasisprotocol.org /blog. You'll find all the latest there. And this kind of brings me to my last question for our section. How does the current state of the network align with our long-term goals and vision for the network?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think in my mind, the long-term vision is that privacy needs to be a usable default. Otherwise, people will not use it. Like if it's too complicated to use, people will not use it. So that is definitely one part like of the long-term goals. The other one is that privacy also needs to be flexible. There's like a whole spectrum of different use cases which require different trade-offs. And we need to be able to offer all of these different points in the spectrum. For example, there are different requirements related to compliance. There are different requirements related to defense in depth and so on. So these are the two key, I think, pillars, like being usable. So this means like having good user and developer experience and being seamless and transparent to users, similar to how we have HTTPS in Web 2, and people don't need to actually think about how does the TLS protocol work in order to be secure. So privacy and security in Web 3 needs to be on this same level. So a usable default that people don't need to pay too much attention to. And this is something that Oasis can enable. And also the other part, the flexibility. Again, if we are only able to support very specific use cases, but not maybe others, then, well, we'll be ignoring large segments. And so we want to be as flexible as possible to cater to all of this, to as wide as possible a spectrum of different use cases. So we're in that regard also looking ahead, and we have a draft of the tech roadmap for next year, and maybe just some highlights from there that like bridge this gap between where we are now and where we are going. One important thing is for having the ability for contracts and apps on Sapphire to trustlessly read state from Ethereum and other chains. This is something that we need to enable, and that this is on the roadmap. So basically, without any trusted intermediaries like third parties being able to just verify proofs of Ethereum state, for example, or other chains. Next thing is even like further improvements in Ethereum tooling integration and overall compatibility. So this is already at like 99%, but still there are some things that we can tweak further to make it even more compatible. And this will, again, result in better user and developer experience. The third thing is an interesting one, and is exploring support for actually validating the Oasis consensus layer state transitions. So basically the logic of the Oasis consensus layer on other chains, particularly Ethereum. And this can evolve into something like being able to validate all of the state on Oasis trustlessly on Ethereum. So again, a powerful primitive that we will be exploring. Then on the cryptography and key management side, there's a thing called threshold secret sharing that we will be again implementing into our key management solutions. This is basically as a defense in depth against any single node compromise to improve how the secrets are stored and how they are reconstructed when they are needed, so that basically the key manager nodes are only holding shares and never the entire secret. Then there's again always room for further particularly runtime performance improvements. This is something that's constantly on our mind, and again, this is something that we'll work on in the next year, and also improving the developer experience as like a roundabout goal, like across all the things, that we make sure that things are actually ergonomic to develop on. Yeah, these are, I think, just some of the highlights from the tech roadmap ahead. And I think all of these things together will bring us closer to this long-term vision. So yeah, looking forward to the next year.
I agree. 2024 will be a very busy year for engineering. Yeah. So I think we can end this segment here. Thank you so much, Jurny, for joining us. And we'll jump off to the next section now.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Jurny. Yeah, next I'd like to invite on stage Tadej Janes, Director of Engineering at Oasis. Welcome today.
Hey, welcome.
Yeah, your name already covered most of the details regarding the network upgrade, but I would like to ask you, were there any specific improvements that we observed post upgrade?
Yeah, thank you for this question. Yeah, I mean, previously Oasis was already a very smooth network, so there were like no downtime in like the mask era or Cobalt era. So that was the chain before the mask. But one thing we saw as a big improvement was that now runtime latency is pretty constant. So previously, if the compute node that was scheduled as the current block proposer for some reason didn't do its job and didn't propose, that resulted in a small timeouts and like some particular blocks on runtimes could have larger block times, like, I don't know, 12 seconds. And now, like after the Eden upgrade, we observed that most of the blocks are consistently 6 seconds. So it's running really smoothly. And mind you, we also haven't seen like this failures at all. So that's a big one. And in terms of like the smoothness of the paratime upgrades, we designed that with the Eden, and now like these confidential paratimes like Sapphire and Cypher, they don't require, as previously, 1 epoch, so 1 hour of downtime. When there's an upgrade, basically the upgrade is scheduled, and the compute nodes just switch from the previous version to the next one, and it's just like seamless. So we did upgrade Cypher and Sapphire, so everything was not even noticeable. So like there were no, like no downtime, no notifications, nothing. So it was just running smoothly. And of course, like some improvements will come further down the line, like as your name mentioned, like ability to vote on network parameter changes. Delegators will be able to vote differently than the validators that they delegate to. And in particular for node operators, like catching up with the chain, I mean, it's actually very fast to catch up now because it's running from the end of November. So even if you need to do like start from scratch, it's super fast. But even when the network will be running like for half a year, 1 year, it will still be like very smooth because we have state sync, and you can just like tell your node like, okay, this is the block that I trust, this is the hash of that block, this is the height, and from there on the Oasis node will just like sync up from there. So yeah, really smooth.
Nice, nice. Are there any any other performance or functionality upgrades for Sapphire and OPL because of the network upgrade?
Yeah. No, actually, there's a very big one. So um, it's basically confidential query latency. In more layman's terms, that means like your dApps and the things you use will now be much faster. So let me explain. So previously, confidential paradigms had 1 block delay when you would be querying confidential state following a transaction execution. So this was due to the fact that like when a block in Paratime was finalized, basically like these node operators that confirmed the block, they only signed the previous block. This is some Tendermint intricacy. And now what we did with the EDAN upgrade is that these compute nodes, they already sign the latest state root hash of the current block and just add it as like a meta transaction to that block. So basically, like imagine like we are at block 1000, like all the validators will sign what's the latest state of block 1000, and when block 1000 is finalized, the next block you can actually query what was the state of this block. So like there's no like this one block in the middle where you needed to wait for 6 seconds, and this is very important for dApps users as well as like everybody developing dApps. Also, like I just want to reiterate that like Oasis finality is instant. So basically, after a transaction is included in a block, it's final, and that's a 6-second latency. I mean, like it's an order of magnitude better than Ethereum, which is approximately like 15 minutes, for example. So awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I mentioned like other things, so like I'll just I guess like highlight like this important security improvement. So like we now have ephemeral and state key rotations to mitigate against compromised key manager nodes. And like in simple terms, that means basically like we are having forward secrecy. So like even if you have access to a key manager node, you won't be able to have access to like the future secrets because the secrets now have generations, and basically like every once in a while like a new generation is made, and like even if you had access in some time period to the key manager, you won't be able to obtain like these next generations. And at the same time, we are forgetting the past, which is important because you also want to have like a certain time window where you're able to actually have the state key too. So basically, we are maximizing the impact of any potential compromise of like a key manager operator or their hardware and stuff. So really defensive depth here.
Nice. And in terms of milestones for Sapphire and OPL over the last 6 months, what are those milestones, and do we have any upcoming plans for them?
Yeah. So just to remind you, like many things were launched in the previous half year. So Sapphire and OPL were among those. So like if you recall, Oasis Rendezvous at ECC in Paris, we launched officially Sapphire there, and like since then we've been steadily improving the developer tooling, and all the clients for Sapphire to maintain parity with the Web3 developer ecosystem. And we introduced support for many of the things that are interesting in the context of Sapphire and confidentiality. So we added a bunch of cryptography algorithms, SHA-512, SHA-384, the P256I1 curve. We also have support for ZK snarks. So we support the BN128 curve that's used by many ZK snark frameworks on Ethereum. Perhaps if I just like pause here and just what does it mean for like a user, right? So it means that basically on Sapphire, a smart contract is able to hold Ethereum private keys and sign Ethereum transactions and even pay for gas. So that's like completely awesome. And with all that, like I think we improved on the demos, code examples, like tutorials, guides, so that we empower developers and builders to be able to use these things. Because I think, yeah, and it's just like aha moment until you start using it, you don't know, and then when you start, it's wow, yeah, this is possible. And on the OPL front, we've been working closely with Seller IM and added support for C bridge and token bridging. We bridge many tokens to Sapphire and Rose to other chains. In terms of Sapphire and OPL future plans, I think basically we want to continue bringing privacy and confidential contracts to other chains. We want to make multi-chain transactions easier when people integrate Sapphire and OPL. We want to integrate also with off-chain. For example, if there's like a need to compute more intensive data sets, like HAL data sets or other data sets. And we hopefully want to challenge the status quo and people's conceptions on why confidential contracts and privacy is a necessity. So we are already there, but we want to encourage others to also come to this, let's say, Oasis among other chains.
Exactly. Customizable privacy is our mission. And along the way, we're solving a lot of Web3 UX issues and breaking down a lot of adoption barriers. I would like to focus a little bit on our first party dApps because I know today you care a lot about them and you guys have worked so much on them. And I like to start off with our Oasis Explorer, which I love very much, and the Oasis Nexus. Can you tell us a bit about the developments they've undergone and what the community can expect in the future?
Yeah, very glad to. So they are sort of like in pair, but Nexus is much more than just the Explorer backend. It's basically like, let's say, a view into the chain for our wallet in the future for our Explorer. And we also encourage others that want to build on Oasis to use it. In terms of what happened, so basically, they were also released at Oasis Rendezvous at ECC in Paris. Explorer had the 1.0 famous release in July, and we had 4 releases since then. So actually, the last release, so like 1.4, we just released today. It will be deployed soon in production, and users will be able to enjoy the NFT support we added. So you'll be able to see the amount of NFTs there are, like the transactions and all the things that you're interested in, similar to how you're able to see the ERC20 tokens. We now support showing block level events in block details. So some events are not tied to a transaction, but to a block. So that's also cool. I think we're now showing events on the accounts details page as well. So when you look at your account or some other account, we support searching blocks by hash from this version. So yeah, pretty exciting. Also, like in terms of plans, I think the immediate future plan is we'll replace Oasis Block Scout instances for Sapphire and Emerald, and the URLs we currently use will redirect to our own Explorer at explorer.oasis.io. We are really excited. I think this has been like a nice journey over this year, and yeah, I think we are basically ready. The engineers are just putting the final touches, and they want to have the best experience for users. And in terms of Nexus, yeah, Nexus has really come a long way in the last half year. So, just like if I somehow make an example, like there has been like 8 releases in just November. So engineering has been really working hard on it, pushing for performance improvements, bug fixes, correctness fixes. Um, yeah, just like it has been happening really fast lately, adding support to Oasis Core at 23.0, all these things. And Nexus is ready. So as soon as we have these events-based ABI support and full NFT support, we'll replace Oasis Block Scout with our own Explorer. And as for the future plans, like we are already halfway on the consensus support. So we have the UI almost ready, the mocks are ready, the front-end engineers will start working on that parts soon in 2024. The Nexus support for consensus is also very mature and ready for front-end to start consuming it. Yeah. It's so many things that perhaps I forgot something, but anyways, yeah, really excited about Nexus and Explorer.
It's already a lot. Like you guys are doing an incredible job. Oh, and how could I forget our wallet, our amazing wallet, because it's the first stop for new users on the network.
Indeed.
What are the planned enhancements, and of course, what were the best updates for our wallet?
Yeah. So like with the wallet, it's like there are so many or like many form factors. So basically, like the aim of like one of the goals for 2023 was actually, can we unify the code base and just like use the same code base on the web, on the Chrome browser extension, on the mobile? And I must say, like we are 90% there. So we had like in the last half year like 4 releases in the 1.7.x series, 2 releases in the 1.8 series. I think a significant thing for users was the Transact integration, which allows perhaps more novice users to easily onboard and like purchase rows via SEPA, credit card, all that things. And also we added paradigm transfers and better like just like user experience. So like address book, settings page, users can like change their profile, all that things, and that will soon be also ported to the browser extension, which will be built from this common code base. So we are already testing that internally, and public testing and switch will happen in early 2024. On the mobile front, we are actually packing this code base of the web wallet into an Android or like iOS app. And as a perk, it will support connecting and using Ledger wallets through Bluetooth. So it will be the most secure option as well. So that's in the latest stages of development, and we will start testing it in early 2024. For the midterm future, for like this sort of pack of wallets, it's to refresh the wallet's UI and have the best UX out there, right? And for the power users, we, like power users being those being at home with command line and terminals, we have Oasis CLI. It's been like churning out releases very steadily, and like for people who are perhaps like on the safe side, we have a mnemonic tool. So like it's a power user tool where you can actually extract the mnemonic if you have a failing Ledger device or users previously that use BitPy, and BitPy deprecated Oasis support, they can get out. So like they can use an air-gapped computer, have the BitPy mnemonic there, and extract their private key and use the private key in other wallets. So yeah, it's just like we try to cater to like all the audiences here.
There you have it. Oasis community will have a mobile wallet soon. This is, I can say, this is the most asked question in our community channels. When when will we have a mobile wallet? So great news there. Well, this kind of wraps up my questions for this section. Thank you so much, Tadej, for joining us.
It's always a pleasure. So thank you, Minya.
Thank you. And stick around. We might have questions towards the end during our live Q&A. Okay, next up we have a demo for account abstraction from our amazing Harry Roberts, Technical Product Manager for OPL and Sapphire. Okay, we have a small technical question with the video. Apparently, it has no sound. We apologize for that. Of course, we'll release it in the community later on. So I'll move to, we'll show it in the community, or if we manage to fix the sound, we'll play it after the BD section. Okay, so I would like to invite onto the stage our lovely BD team. We have Niva Viram, head of BD, Matej Janej, BD manager, and William Wendt, ecosystem growth manager. Welcome, guys.
Hey, Minya. Good to be here.
Okay, so my first question, and the one that our community is looking forward to the most. We had a lot of partnerships this year. A lot of grants were issued. Could you give us updates on that? Maybe Matej or
yeah, sure.
Wants to take this.
Thanks for having us here. Yeah, this half a year especially was very busy with new partnerships, new projects coming in through grants, through just other pipelines as well. The one, I think the most significant one was probably the Ocean Protocol launching their predictor product on Sapphire natively. I think that was a really nice, let's say, kind of like the demo of how Sapphire can be used fully, right? They're using Sapphire as a private storage for the predictions. They're using private compute, to basically compute over those prediction and then give the aggregate of those predictions, right? So I think that was a really nice showcase, and yeah, I was very excited for these partnerships, and of course we're continuing, to think about other use cases that can be done via Sapphire for their data products, right? We're also continuing the incentive program for the data farming, because I think we can all agree that even our users can benefit from participating in Predictor. Currently it's just predicting the crypto prices, which I think it can be a very interesting topic now that crypto in general is picking up. But hopefully they'll start with other use cases soon as well. I mean, everywhere in the world we have predictions, as Trent mentioned quite a few times, from weather to real estate pricing, to stocks, to anything that we do, we kind of want to predict in advance what will happen. And this is a very interesting economy that can still be tapped here. So I'm very excited to see how we develop this, maybe even take it cross chain to bring this to users that are maybe not natively on Sapphire, but they can still, give their predictions via OPL maybe or something like that. So we'll explore more use cases, but this was definitely one partnership that I was really excited about this year. And maybe the second one for me would be Crust with their implementation of Sapphire in their product Crust files, where they're using Sapphire to basically get their encryption keys for the files, so users don't have to kind of manage those encryption keys for their files, right? As long as they have the access to their MetaMask account that they connected to Sapphire, they are always able to retrieve the private keys. And I think that kind of smoothens out the user experience and makes the whole user flow very much a lot more simpler in general. Yeah, so I'll highlight these two, and probably will has a few to highlight as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think on the grant side, probably the one that most people have heard of and has drawn the most sort of attention to our network is Luminex. They'll be the first confidential DEX on Oasis Sapphire network, not only enabling confidential trading on the Sapphire network, but also actually focusing on the cross-chain compatibility as well. So you'll be able to have cross-chain transfers from a number of networks, including ETH, Arbitrum, BNB, all the major networks that most people would want to be able to use cross-chain trades from and have confidentiality enabled. So that's sort of the goal of Opal, is to sort of leverage the Sapphire's confidentiality features and bring it to the entire Web3 ecosystem. So we're really excited that our community has gotten behind Luminex, and we're really excited for their launch coming, hopefully in the next few weeks. The second major grant that I like to highlight is NFTB. NFTB is one of the largest NFT marketplaces and launchpads. Also, they have a sort of a focus on gaming ecosystems. So we're really excited for the sort of having these two major pillars to any ecosystem. One with Luminex being sort of DeFi, and the other one being NFTB on the NFT marketplace side. That will surely empower sort of the gaming ecosystem, for which I think Opal has a lot of benefits for having these confidential features in gaming, as well as the NFT ecosystem. Again, we have a lot of interesting applications with NFTs that we can do with confidential NFTs and things like that. That sort of are not possible on any other network. So big shout out to NFTB for sort of being our first partner in this space and helping to empower that ecosystem. I'd say, the one other thing I want to talk about with NFTB is while, the NFT marketplace is amazing, one of the things I'm most excited about is the sealed bid auctions that is also part of the grant. Sealed bid auctions, at least in my opinion, and from what I read, and if anyone wants to read about it, A16Z did like a 5-part series on sort of auction mechanisms, and the last 3 are all about sealed bid auctions. And basically, they sort of have these benefits that prevent a lot of the issues that have existed in auctions and NFT auctions and things like that, with gas wars and front running. And just in general, like efficient price discovery. And so I'm excited to see, sort of the first implementation of sealed bid auctions in the Web3 space. And maybe, it'll solve a massive problem for the industry. So those are the 2 major grants we've given, mostly focusing on, getting the core pieces of infrastructure to build ecosystems around. We do have some more grants in the pipeline, some more that are signed. I'll let them sort of be announced when they're announced, but one in the gaming space and then one in sort of a confidential trading strategy space. So hopefully we'll have those announcements out to you in maybe the next month or so. I think that's it for the grant side for me. Maybe Niv, do you have any other thoughts? Or do you maybe want to move on to sort of what's coming next for BD?
Actually,
up to me.
sorry. I actually wanted to ask you guys about conferences, because we've been to a lot of conferences this year, myself included, of course. But I would have liked to hear your opinion about this and what stood out at those conferences.
Yeah, if I can chip in here, Mitya, I think this year, especially the last half a year was very busy. We've been all over from Paris, ETC to DevCon in Berlin, SmartCon in Barcelona, and then the last one was DevCon Connect in Istanbul. We saw that we can make a lot of good contacts and partnerships through these live events. We also have a lot of speaking engagements. With Harry doing some workshops, Mateo doing some workshops, and bringing that tech, closer to the crypto community. And it honestly makes our job easier, right? But because after they speak, or after a speaking engagement, people come up and are very interested in what Oasis and especially Sapphire has to offer. So I would say that, yeah, we will, I think, continue with a similar pace next year. Just traveling around, trying to evangelize, and raise awareness around the privacy features that Sapphire and OKL bring. And yeah, I think this was one of the crucial points as well for us to be able to expand our ecosystem, and further grow it. Maybe Will, you can add some as well. How you saw all the conferences.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think this year we certainly ramped up our conference attendance. Thank you, Diana, who maybe is not so forward-facing, but is a superstar behind the scenes for organizing all of our conferences and events. And yeah, I guess, I would just reiterate with what Matej said is that, basically people are excited to hear about basically the capabilities that Oasis Sapphire offers. They're excited to hear that there's an EVM that's production ready, that they don't have to change, almost any code for. And we get lots of people who, maybe are not ready yet to deploy on Oasis, or have not yet been announced deployed on Oasis. But, these conferences have made those connections. And oftentimes, even if those connections don't lead to initial deployments, they're also very valuable for our ecosystem partners. A lot of the job that we do as BDs is connecting, sort of different needs for different protocols to one another. And so, even last night, I was messaging Matej about, a project that I met at a conference who needed access to Transact. And, I think Matej met Transact at a conference. And so, these sort of collaborations build network effects, which I think is, the key to any ecosystem growth. In Web3. So these conferences are truly providing value in that field.
They are. I can absolutely agree. Niv, would you like to tell us what our amazing community can expect in terms of collaborations next year?
Yes. Thank you, Minya. So to follow on what Matej and Will just updated, just to give you in a high level, I think 2023 was a great year for the network, and our hope is to continue this great momentum in 2024 in terms of continuing growing the ecosystem with onboarding more projects and more interesting dApps to come in and build on Sapphire or collaborate with us. To give you just a high level data about the grants, I think we approved only in the end of the second part of 2023, we approved somewhere between 10 to 15 different grants. Some of them were announced, some of them are still in the processing. So you should expect more news in the next few weeks. But for me, so I joined the foundation, the network, less than 3 months. But I can tell you, it's the things that's going on, the conversation are very exciting. And for me, what I care about in 2024 is again continue this momentum of partnering with as many projects as possible. Is try to get Oasis to be to reach new communities and new ecosystem that we are still not in touch with, for example the Ethereum layer 2 ecosystem, sidechain, EVM, the large EVM DeFi projects, NFTs, and gaming. Third, the next part is to further continue working on improving the builders and user experience with Oasis, which means focusing on maybe partnering with some of the top tier infrastructure project in our ecosystem. And the last point is to make the next point is to make confidentiality a thing and get people more aware of it and the possibility of what they can do with confidentiality and privacy in their apps and in their ecosystem. This can be done through maybe interesting partnership around content creation and maybe exploring some interesting partnership within Web3, but also maybe outside of Web3 with prominent enterprises, Web2 privacy leaders, technology companies that interested to explore the space and see how they can break into it. And the last point is maybe continue boosting up a little bit our grants program, double down on our grants effort, and in terms of drawing in more projects to apply, as well as maybe offer more opportunities for projects that are looking for help with scaling, connection, community support, and stuff like this. So all in all, a lot of stuff on our plate, and I hope we'll be a successful year.
Yeah, I can wait to see what 2024 brings for Oasis and for the community. And you guys are doing an incredible job. Hopefully, you can take some rest during the holidays, as well as, of course, engineering and all of the other departments. But thank you so much for being with us here today. Thank you for all the updates. And yeah, stick around as well because we might have questions towards the end.
Thanks, Minya.
Thanks, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Okay, next up, my absolute pleasure to bring on stage our head of marketing and community, Mr. Patrick Degenhardt, whereas the community likes to joke about it, Degenhardt. Welcome, Patrick. It's lovely to have you here.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you so much. Been doing a great job hosting this town hall.
Thank you. I'd like to start out with kind of a basic question for you, if you want to call it that. I would like to know what the standout moments and achievements in our marketing efforts for this year were.
Yeah, I think it has been a tremendous year. I think as the community is seeing this town hall today, we also ran a recap from the time that we were at DevConnect in Istanbul, just showing the highlights of the year. And it has been so many. I think in more specifically marketing and community, as you know, I think there are 4 main areas that we can say that were the key highlights of the year. The first, I think it's openness with the community, the transparency and participation that we have been striving to get from the community, being very transparent in our communications with them, even when there were some issues, for instance, with the Eden upgrade, as your name mentioned, when we opened today and in a blog post. So always seeking that transparency and the community engagement. So for many of our marketing activities this year and community activities, we have sought the participation from the community by voting. Like we did this a couple of times with an ecosystem project, actually. So really trying to get the community to participate and also at the same time support the ecosystem projects. I think that's extremely important, the projects that are using Oasis technology. So since I joined about 6 months ago, we've been striving to do that, and even before as well. So that was the first area. The second, I think, is brand awareness. So we need to get the word out there in terms of the Oasis brand, the technologies that we are pushing forward, the importance of privacy in Web3 and even beyond Web3, I might add. So this element of brand awareness and brand visibility has been a very important one, and we have outstanding results. I think in these 6 months we are #1 in terms of share of voice for any privacy-oriented protocol, which is, I think, pretty cool and a testament to the technology and the work that has been done by the community, by the ecosystem, and by the foundation for many years. Right now, right? It's not something that is achievable in a couple of months. It's a years-long project in order to be there and be #1. And we had tremendous results in terms of social media, 57 million impressions on Twitter. Our PR efforts have grown 5x in the second half of the year. So 5x, it's not easy to grow 5x. So even in terms of thought leadership as well, we are putting out tremendous content. Check out our blog. There's a lot of really cool stuff going on. And that links me to the third pillar, I think, of this year, which was developer education, technical content, and social engagement. So putting out blog posts that are detailed, that are developer-oriented, our monthly developer newsletter, all the weekly activities that we do, even with your weekly in review type of videos where you summarize to the community what were the most important elements of the week. Sometimes you bring also guests to share these highlights. So that's pretty cool, and that's what we are seeing that the community really appreciates. So we are definitely going to continue with all of that next year. And finally, to finalize, I think the support to ecosystem projects. Like I mentioned, in the case of the voting by the community, we are doing our utmost really to support the ecosystem projects that are building on Oasis, and the partnerships, all the partners that the BD team that has just spoken is bringing to the ecosystem. So we are working closely with them, and we definitely want to make it a huge success next year as well. And related to this, there's also the collaboration with the Universal Privacy Alliance. Yesterday, there was a press release that people might have seen in the community. So super cool stuff happening also on the UPA side of things that we collaborate, and we are very happy to organize some talks for them or participate in some talks and some thought leadership activities. So there's a lot.
Yes, it is, and amazing work, I might say. But yeah, we had some question about the whole smart privacy campaign. Could you maybe expand on that? Why did we start off this smart privacy campaign, and what makes it unique, and why is it important for our ecosystem?
Yeah, that was that we launched it at ECC in Paris this year. So at ECC, we had a lot of activities. We launched our hackathon there. We partnered with the Ethereum community. We had several talks there. It was an extremely successful event. And at that event, we launched this smart privacy concept. That's related basically to the programmable confidentiality aspect of Oasis. So there are two main aspects related to why we did that. The first is educational, and the second is in terms of uniqueness and brand positioning. So in terms of education, we need to let people understand what we stand for, right? Why would a developer team decide to use Oasis to build their dApp? And the reason is, as I briefly mentioned, it's programmable confidentiality. We are the only layer 1 that offers this at this moment for EVM chains. So that's unique. Nobody else has that. And then in terms of unique positioning, no other project has anything similar to this concept. It draws from the smart contract type of concept that, the whole Ethereum thing that brought about the blockchain revolution after Bitcoin. It goes one step further. So it's smart privacy. It's smart contracts that allow developers to define exactly what aspects of privacy they want in their dApps, and users having the option to benefit from this. So it's very important, I think, for people to understand what Oasis is about. And smart privacy as a concept is a good way to bring people to start to understand. Of course, you cannot only stay at the concept level, you have to go deeper. And then as we go deeper, that's when we bring what I was mentioning before in terms of educational content, all the educational content that we are creating for events or for social media, even one of the efforts of the community team that you are leading, that is the Oasis Academy. So in the end, all of this is self-reinforcing in terms of branding for the protocol, and that's what we want.
Yeah, we are solving a lot of, as I keep saying, like we are solving a lot of issues in Web3 in terms of UX, in terms of adoption. So I think we're doing an amazing job here. I know that BD covered some of the conferences, but I would have liked to hear the marketing's perspective on about the conferences we participated in 2023. If we can share updates for 2024 about planned conferences.
Yes.
Yeah, will there be any changes in content focus? And I guess we can cover online events as well, like upcoming series, if we plan those, or are we just keeping the current format?
Yeah, so we are enlarging the current format. So I think this year has been extremely successful in terms of event participation and organization. We organized a major hackathon this year, really record-breaking hackathon for us. We had 12 winning projects across 4 categories. That was, I think, tremendous. The participation from developer teams across the world really was fantastic. We also organized our own events, like the Oasis Rendezvous in Paris. We organized many online events, actually 30, probably now about 39 or 40 events in the year. So it's really tremendous output of events and education, because all these events are most of these events at least are very technical and developer oriented. So that will definitely continue for next year. I think the community can expect that we'll be present at all the major events in 2024. The first one that we are set to join is ETH Denver by late February and early March, of course happening in the US. Then I think the next major one will be in April in Amsterdam, ETHDAM. We're planning a participation there. And then some other events like DAppCon in Berlin or EthCC again, which next year will be in Brussels for a change, since we'll have the Olympics in Paris. So we'll definitely be present at all the major events. We're also organizing hackathons next year. So we'll have our own hackathon like we did this year, but we are also joining some other hackathons. For instance, at ETH Denver, they run a hackathon event, Build Week, and we'll participate in that. And ETHDAM also has a hackathon. So we'll seek interesting opportunities for developers to build on Oasis in external hackathons, as well as our own event. And then in terms of online event series, we are planning several online events. There are 6 different types of events that we're planning for next year. There are events focused on devs, on ecosystem projects, on partnerships led by the BD team. We'll continue with the very successful Meet the Team series. So we've seen tremendous feedback from the community about the Meet the Team series, and we'll continue with that. Our lovely Andrea will be present on those, and she was introduced to the community earlier this month, and she will lead this next year as well. So overall, there are more than 40 online events already programmed, already scheduled for next year. So it will be a very busy year, almost one event per week. And that's scheduled. So let alone the ones that we decide to do, for instance, with partners, as we announce new partnerships, which I'm sure there will be plenty. So yeah, lots on the event side as well.
Yes, we do have a lot of upcoming events, and I think Diana and Ellie will have their hands full
for sure.
2024. Yeah. And yeah, as you said, Andrea is taking over. The lovely Andrea, our head of HR, is taking over the Meet the Team series, and I'm happy because seriously, my face is all over the place. And I'll try to do more events on the side. For example, on Monday we do have I'm hosting a Twitter Spaces with other community leaders regarding the importance of communities in Web3. You'd like to join that, but yeah, thank you for all the updates. Where the marketing department is is all over the place. Amazing achievements this year.
Yes, definitely. Should we talk a little bit about the community achievements this year as well?
Yeah, sure. Since I'm here.
Yeah, since you're here. Yeah, I think when we think of community, probably one of the first things that we think about is the ambassadors, right? The ambassadors are, the lighthouse, I think, of a community in a blockchain project. So this year we had this new ambassadors program being launched. Well, it was a couple of months ago now. Yeah, tell us a little bit more about that. What were the reasons behind this new focus for the ambassadors program, and also how we are with it at this point in time?
Well, I'd like to start off saying that the ambassador program is very dear to me because I did join from the ambassador program. I joined the Oasis team from inside the ambassador program, so it means a lot to me. And honestly, the whole revamp was so we could focus more on quality content and content that makes an impact for the network, and having a smaller program, because at one point we did have around 600 ambassadors, and you get lost in the way of managing a program that's large as that one. So now we're focusing on a much smaller program, a program where we can interact on a daily basis with the ambassadors, provide educational resources for them, and provide a nurturing environment, because that's what we're seeking with the new ambassador program. Provide a nurturing environment where people can grow their skills, grow their knowledge about the blockchain, and why not land a job in Web3 in the future, because a lot of us have joined from the ambassador program. In terms of engagement, we did have a lot of great engagement with the program. We've had over 1,000 registrations ever since we announced it. I do want to mention that registration is closed at the moment. The first cohort is already set up. We will open the program again probably in Q2 in 2024, and we have around 90 ambassadors in the program. Highly engaged people that care about privacy, understand our technology. So I'm very happy with the outcome of the new revamp. Oasis Sentinels, and I do love the name. So thank you.
Yeah, which the
Thank
community
you to
chose.
exactly. Thank you to the community for choosing the name.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I think that this is great, and I think the new focus is really cool, and makes a lot of sense. So moving on to another question, I think one of the key aspects of the community is engagement, right, of the community, and one of the ways that you managed to lead on this front this year was the Oasis Odyssey program, which, by the way, I love the name as well. Being a history nerd, you might imagine that I like this type of naming conventions. So tell us a little bit more about the Odyssey and where are we navigating in the world.
So yeah, the Odyssey was is because we're continuing with it. Was a great initiative. We launched it in January, I think. Yeah, at the beginning of the year. And it's a program where individuals can interact with our content. Um, uh, Basically, they become champions of the network because we do have original content in there as well. So people who might enjoy writing original articles about Oasis or posting great Twitter threads about Oasis. It's a loyalty sort of program. For now, participants in the program received SBT soulbound tokens, which are attached to their account, loyalty badges, if you want to call them. And we do have planned a very special Christmas SBT, which we'll announce, I think, tomorrow. We have a special contest inside the Odyssey.
You're dropping some alpha now.
Yeah. Some spoilers. We do have an amazing SBT, Christmas SBT, which will be limited, very limited. I think only 2 people will be able to earn that. So yeah, it's a gem that needs to be hunted. Um, and next year we are looking into bringing more prizes to the Odyssey, which I won't share now because it will be a surprise. But stay tuned because we'll have more exciting prizes for participants in the Odyssey campaign. And in terms of metrics, we did have a lot of engagement. I think around almost 100,000 submissions for this year. Kind of starting since March, I think. So yeah, a lot of engagement over the program.
Yeah, no, that's outstanding. So I think to finalize this, we can move on to the educational program. I think, as I was mentioning, that's one of the key aspects, I think, for us to support the community with, especially with more technical content. So tell us a little bit about the Oasis Academy.
Oh, okay. So the Academy, yeah, again, a project that's very dear to me. And it's you can find the Academy on the Oasis Community Garden, which was created with the help of some community members. It's a place where you can find all sorts of resources about Oasis, including our Twitter spaces. They usually download them and upload them to the garden. So if you miss any of the Twitter spaces, because Twitter deletes the content after some time, you can find them on the garden. But yeah, the Academy, as we always say, like we care about education for our community, and this is how the Academy rose. Because we wanted to offer free educational resources to our community. We started off with the basic beginner lessons. We cover different types of blockchains, consensus mechanisms, NFTs, DeFi. We go over the basic things. And our plan for 2024 is to release more technical content for the Oasis Academy. I'm speaking to projects in our ecosystem. Some developers want to host some workshops on the Academy, so we'll have a lot of exciting content the academy. It's basically a platform where you can find all sorts of engaging activities, including, as I said, workshops, maybe even live lessons with students, because the platform offers all of these possibilities. And of course, we are looking in the future to issue certificates for completing such courses.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, a lot of engagements in the community, a lot of activities. We're all working around the clock, but we love it. We love our community. We love the project. So it's not really work if you love what you're doing. Well, thank you, Patrick. Thank you for joining us. I guess we'll move on to the next section, which is operations. So for this, I would like to invite Andrea Kavnik on stage, our head of HR and culture.
Hi, everyone. It's good to be back.
Hi, Andrea. Yeah, we just had a Meet the Team series last week.
Yeah, we sure did.
But it's always lovely to have you with us. Our community already loves you, so just so you know. Thank
you. That's nice to hear.
So since I have you here, can you elaborate on the Oasis culture and values, particularly in reference to the latest two offsites we had? And can you expand on the purpose and how they have influenced our team culture?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that question. So meeting in person, at our team building retreats this last year has really been of paramount importance for us and our progress this last year. Our first team building was at Lake Bled in Slovenia. And then our second one was in Split, Croatia, just a couple of months ago. And both were kind of week-long. The main goal of each of them was to build stronger bonds between us, just help us regroup, retrospect, align, and obviously map out our priorities for the project. The best part about it, I guess, is that the synergy that was created, just the incredible vibe of our team when we get together is something that's very hard to describe. It's just, the team spirit and everything's just on another level. So I think everyone always gets back super charged and super excited, although it is obviously always a very busy week. So when it comes to our live retreats, when it comes to our shared values, I guess, like I said the other day, they're not just some words written somewhere on a doc. They are a living and breathing characteristic traits of our team. So I guess the behaviors and the skills that we value and we want to see in our team members is what we want to encourage. So we are very aware, obviously, that one can have the brightest idea, the best vision, but none of it can happen without a team, right? It can only happen if the team is committed, if the team is loyal, if the team is dedicated and inspired, right, to see that vision through. And I guess that type of commitment and loyalty can only happen if the company decides to put people first. And I guess that is a huge emphasis. We have done a lot of work on that this year. This means that we put a lot of emphasis on mutual respect, supporting each other. As a team, I think we are good at practicing compassion for our team members if, they're going through a hard time. Our culture is also built on freedom of thinking. Most importantly, I guess, is the autonomy that's connected to that. So, taking ownership and having agency for your work. And that in general is just very important for our team spirit and the culture. And we also make sure that there's growth and development center for each of our team members as well. So obviously, the roles within the team are just so varied and different. And we're just trying to make sure that everyone is able to get customized experience within the growth and development. And so that, the team members are able to flourish in their own way, but also have a say in terms of how they want to grow. so that we're looking for that win-win. We're also making continuous efforts for our team members to feel safe, to feel encouraged, to challenge that status quo, and come up with new approaches, to be courageous enough not only to offer the gift of constructive feedback, but also, as you said last time, to be open enough to receive it, because it's not always easy. But most importantly, I think we're all striving to grow from it, to learn from it, regardless of the titles and the ranks. So I guess, to put it short, the team buildings, the live retreats, the shared values really act as kind of our North Star when it comes to decision making and setting boundaries. And I think so far this last year, things have been going very good. So I'm very proud of the team, and it's beautiful to see how each individual is stepping up as a leader, is taking ownership, and just doing the best work that they possibly can. So lots to be proud of.
I can second that. And as I keep saying, we're passionate about what we're doing, so it's not really work if you're passionate. It doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
In terms of new hires, who are the new hires in our team, and are there any plans for future expansion in our team?
It's an important topic to address. So we've had a very busy and fruitful year on the hiring front at the foundation. Obviously, the entire team always has to be behind that, because it is a long process usually. But in May and then later in July, we expanded our wonderful community team with 2 great additions. Andrew Baker and Justin Yan, both joining us as community moderators. We've seen Harry Roberts join us mid-May as our technical product manager for Sapphire and Oasis Privacy Layer. Obviously, we've had the opportunity to listen to his great presentations throughout the year at conferences and events. I guess shortly after, our team grew richer for yet another outstanding individual, our head of marketing and community, Patrick Dagenhart. And obviously he's also been introduced at the Meet the Team series led by you, Minya. So then the next few onboarded individuals were Uroš Paszczynski and Gregor Weiss as DevOps in July. They've both been just an incredible addition to our team. In August, we onboarded our new head of business development, Niv Everam, who you've met just earlier. And I guess all of these individuals, I think we can all agree, have a very rich background. They have great set of experiences to help us move faster towards our vision. And our future plans in terms of recruitment are not slowing down. If anything, they're increasing. So our fantastic Ash Puma is doing a great job in sourcing and making sure that our roles that are open are published on our career site. So whoever wants to know more about what roles are available at the moment, please go and check that out. We will also add new positions to our business development department shortly. And I guess I encourage everyone who's interested in our project to pay attention to our careers page and to our announcements, because obviously we do always try to make sure that the community is aware of the openings.
Yes, we always have openings, and we're developing so much. We do need to expand the team constantly, because we're pushing out so much content and so much development. Yeah. Patrick did mention it during his section. I think I did as well. But starting next year, you're taking over the team series. How do you feel about that?
I'm excited. I'll take on the challenge for sure. I mean, you have been doing just a fantastic job as always. So I will definitely ask for your support and mentorship, and obviously I'm taking notes. I will do my best, and I guess the idea is anyways for us to rotate so that the community is able to meet more people from all angles. So I will give my best when my chance comes, for sure.
Exactly, that's what we're seeking with all of the speaking engagements, we're doing more transparency to our community, and I think they notice is like we're trying to share everything with the community so they can be up to date to what we're developing, what we're doing behind the scenes. Yeah, we're amazing at doing that. Well, thank you very much, Andrea, for joining us today. Hope you have a lovely rest of the day.
Thanks for having me, Minia. Great work.
Okay, right. We're gonna try the account abstraction demo one more time. So fingers crossed. It should work now.
So, what is account abstraction? Or rather, why does ERC 2773 and ERC 4337 exist? Well, at a high level, users just want to be able to pay gas in any currency, or they might want to use different account authentication methods, or they might want smart contract managed accounts. And all of these things don't necessarily come for standard with wallets like Rabi or MetaMask. But they all have different upsides and downsides. So with ERC 2771, for example, all the contracts that want to use the standard, they have to be adapted for it. So this makes it difficult to be compatible with all of the existing applications in the ecosystem, and means that you have to set up a trust relationship between the transaction forwarder that verifies the user's signatures and the specific contracts that you want users to interact with. So from an adoption perspective, this isn't ideal. Whereas with ERC 4337, you don't need to modify the contracts at all, and they don't need to be aware of the standard. So they act just like they normally do with externally owned accounts, so message.sender is the same as it was originally. And how does it do that? Well, with 4337, instead of having a key pair, your externally owned account, you instead have a smart contract that acts as your on-chain wallet. So consider that when every contract that's been deployed has its own unique address, a wallet provider can deploy one on-chain for you, which is set up with your different authentication methods. And then instead of interacting directly with contracts, you sign a user operation, which will be verified by your contract, and give that to the relayer instead. And when the relayer pays gas to call your wallet then pays the relayer. But the relay infrastructure is complicated with 4337. So the relayer needs to know about user operations, it needs to validate them and make sure they pay it back enough gas to cover the fees. And somebody needs to be running the relays and bundling transactions together. And because everything's going through a smart contract, it costs a little bit more gas. So remember, before you can do this, somebody needs to pay for your smart contract wallet to be deployed on chain first. So can we do things a little bit differently with Sapphire? Now that if you consider that contracts have confidential data and private computation, how can we use these to simplify account abstraction so that it doesn't need all the extra infrastructure or relays and bundlers like the 4337 standard, and it works with all existing contracts unlike the ERC 2773 standard? Well, we can just have a contract generate a key pair instead of deploying a new contract for every single user. And we can use that key pair to sign transactions on behalf of the user. Or if you want to subsidize some things on chain, you can just pay gas for the users and have the smart contract take control of that. And because the contract is fully in control of the signing, you can implement any authentication scheme you want. Now, we're going to have a quick look at a demo that we've made, which uses account abstraction in the Sapphire style behind the scenes. So what this does is it allows you to create a vote on Sapphire, and then people can sign with any wallet, with any chain configured, that allows them to submit a vote without necessarily having to have tokens on the Sapphire network. So, in the gasless voting demo, we're going to show how users can participate in polls without necessarily having gas on the Sapphire network. So this lets people submit votes privately and for free. So if you're running the poll, you're subsidizing the gas for the users to vote. We select hamburgers, which is the healthiest option. And instead of signing a transaction on chain and submitting a request, instead the application is requesting an EIP 712 signature of the proposal and your choice, which you sign. And behind the scenes, the contract uses its own key pair to create a transaction for you, which you then submit on chain, and that completes your vote. For the demo, we used the signed type data standard, ERC712, to request a signature from the user, and that proves that they control the key pair. And on the back end, the smart contracts are deployed on Sapphire. It uses the Deoxys2 cipher to encrypt the voting information so it can't be seen on-chain in the Transaction Explorer. It uses the SecP256K1 key generation signing algorithms, which is the same curve used by Ethereum and Bitcoin. It also uses the EIP155 signer solidity library from the Oasis protocol Sapphire contracts package, and that's used to construct and sign Ethereum transactions, and the front end is built with React and Vite. So from the perspective of someone looking at the blockchain, the contract is using its account to submit all of the different voting transactions, and it's also paying the gas for it, and the information is encrypted. So that means you can't see who's voting on what or for what or when they voted, just that a number of different votes have been submitted, and they might be to any number of the different polls on the demo. In the second account abstraction demo, we're showing how to completely remove Web3 wallets and plugins from the user experience, and instead use the WebAuthn standard. As a quick example, that means users could, for example, go to an Apple store or buy a Google phone, and within a minute or two after setting it up, without any need to install extra plugins, they could visit your site, register, and start using your dApp with real on-chain transactions. With WebAuthn, you can use secure biometric authentication on your mobile device, or things like passkeys and physical security like YubiKey USB dongles. So in the example, we're going to register with our chosen username. The contract behind the scenes has its own gas-paying wallet to submit your username registration on chain. And because the user's interacting with the contract in view calls, it's free to query the contract and create the signed transactions for you. Then you can submit them on chain just like a prepaid envelope. So we go to our auth demo, and I'm going to click the register button here. So that takes us to the Oasis Authenticator, which is a demonstration app that uses WebAuthn. So I'll choose Harry Demo 1 as my username. I press register, and you notice the browser is just giving me a notification saying that I need to press the button on my security key. So I do that, which is registered with WebAuthn behind the scenes, and we wait for the transaction to be confirmed on chain, which will take a few seconds. Now my account has been registered, and I'm redirected back to the application, where you can see that I have a real account here, and I've got no balance, unfortunately. But if I go to the faucet, and let's put some tokens in here, I copy my address, I'll paste it in, verify that I'm not a robot, and we request some tokens. So if I go back and let's refresh the page, and this time instead of registering, I'm going to log into my account, which goes back to the authenticator page. So I say demo1, which is my username. I press login, and again it's requested me to authenticate with my security key. And now I've logged back into my account, and I have 10 rows available. So next, I'm going to send some test rows to a random participant I found on the Block Explorer. So let's send them 1 rows. Let's copy the address, and I press send there. Now, for the transaction, similar to MetaMask, it'll take you back to the Oasis Authenticator. It shows you the details of the transaction, and I'm required to authenticate. So, Harry1, just my username. I press sign the transaction. Again, I have to authenticate with my security key. And that has asked the contract that's managing my Web3 account on-chain to sign the transaction for me, which I can then broadcast to the network. And it does take a few seconds. So now that's been submitted, and I can navigate to the Explorer. You can see that's been confirmed. It's from my account to the account. The value is 1, and it's just a normal on-chain transaction, no smart contract interaction, because the contract is managing a real wallet rather than smart contracts performing transactions for me. So in this account abstraction demo using WebAuthn, so behind the scenes we're using Sapphire. We're also using call data encryption, which comes for free with the Sapphire wrapper, which means all of your interactions with the contract are encrypted. And we're also using the SecP256R1 curve for verification of your WebAuthn credentials. And on Sapphire, that's a precompile. So instead of being implemented in Solidity and costing between 70,000 and up to $1.5 million gas, which depends on your implementation, it's using the precompile, so it's very low gas. It's around 7,000 gas to verify a signature. Of course, we're using WebAuthn, which allows your browser to authenticate with a wide range of methods. And for the front end, we're using React and Vite. Contracts on Sapphire can not only verify signatures cheaply for the most popular and widely used curves, but they can also generate key pairs and sign using those keys. And this isn't possible on transparent EVM chains like Ethereum or Polygon without using third-party services to perform the key management for you. Roughly, there are two types of services involved for transparent EVM chains. Firstly, things like Web3 social login, which would actually store the user's keys, although hopefully they're using a secret sharing scheme or some kind of MPC process, so the login provider themselves can't see the user's secrets. And secondly, there are specialized key management services using either MPC or trust execution, which can be directed by the smart contract to sign things on behalf of the contract or on behalf of the user. But in comparison with Sapphire, neither of those are tightly integrated with your smart contracts, or they require many additional steps and additional transactions and depend on the third party to send information back and forth or make it available to users, which means they're not as flexible. They can't easily be used by other contracts because the signing takes place off-chain. And because everything being signed is public, there's no privacy available. So ideally, we'd like to see composable contracts with access to keys. So in 2024, we're going to continue pushing forward to demonstrate the potential of contracts that can manage keys. So it won't just be account abstraction, although that's a really good use case. We'll also be exploring areas such as multi-chain transaction signing, fully autonomous contracts, WebAuthn and social login, along with cross-chain private voting and intents and swaps. And you'll be hearing more over the next year about advancements in this area. So thank you, everybody. That's me for today. Please check out the demos. Go to playground.oasis.io and also check out our GitHub. That's github.com/oasisprotocol.
And thank you, Harry. I think Harry is amazing at breaking down complex concepts for us. We're so lucky to have you, Harry. Okay, this brings us to the live Q&A section, and we do have some questions from the community. Let me check out our doc. Okay, I would like to first invite to the stage Matej. I think you can take this question. It's regarding Ocean Protocol.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we have a question from a community member. And that question is, given the fact that Oasis has extended their support for Ocean Protocol's predictor, data farming. I understand that Oasis values this partnership a lot, and I was wondering, from your point of view, what makes Ocean stand out, and why do you think the predictor will succeed?
Yeah, of course. I mean, Ocean is obviously one of the top 100 or 150 projects in the space with their own community as well, you know, and a proven track record of what they brought into the whole ecosystem, you know, since their inception. So launching this predictor on Sapphire, you know, and complementing the predictor solution with the privacy aspects of Sapphire, I think this is a great show of, you know, how projects in Web3 are actually composable, you know, and connect with each other. So not every project tries to develop their own thing, you know, but take the best pieces out of the ecosystem and build from there. So that's why I think I'd say we value the partnership very much, and we also see benefit for our users, right? Because they can interact with the predictor on Sapphire, they can earn some rows, earn some Ocean while doing it. So we think it's a great initiative. That's why we're supporting it. Sorry, what was the why we think Predict will succeed? Yeah, I think if we look, as I said in the beginning, predictions are everywhere around us, right? We always try to predict who will win the election, you know, which tokens will go up, what kind of weather will we have. So this is a very interesting, you know, and in-demand market, and that's why we believe that going forward, you know, prediction feeds like this will be very interesting and crucial in this space. So yeah, we completely align with the Ocean's idea here of, you know, predicting the various aspects of our life through these models of aggregated predictions.
Nice. Thank you for that, Mate. Harry, would you like to join us, Harry?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Hello, nice demo, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, for my next question, could you share any developments or plans of different dApps on Oasis?
So I think generally that there's two lines of thinking. So there's things that we're going to be nurturing in the ecosystem, and then there's things that we're going to be developing ourselves to bring to the community that showcases things that are unique to Sapphire or unique to the Oasis network. So I think at first, like we've recently introduced the capability of staking and delegation on Sapphire. So we're looking at we're going to be creating a staking dApp and introducing some kind of flavor of staked token that can be used with smart contracts, but also an app. So you should be able to, instead of installing the Oasis wallet itself, just go to a dApp using your MetaMask or Ravi plugin or whichever wallet you use, and stake your rows directly through the web browser with no additional downloads. And I know we already have a wallet, but this is more sort of Ethereum ecosystem flavored, and hopefully that's going to grow into a lot of interesting things. I think we're also going to be introducing confidential cross-chain voting. So we've got a couple of demos so far. We've done cross-chain voting with privacy. We've got like gasless voting on Sapphire with privacy. But I think we need to take this to the next level. So I think we're going to be working with DAO providers and plugins and everyone out there in the ecosystem that is worth bringing this to. So it's really we have to be careful about spending our time and make sure we bring it to the most number of people. But yeah, it's ready. The technology works, and yeah, we need to make this happen basically.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sorry, yeah, on the BT side, we already have a few things in the pipeline on the confidential voting, so this is going to be a very interesting one to follow. And obviously, as you mentioned here, liquid staking, I think people always like, you know, where they can put some capital to work somewhere else as well. So yeah, interesting developments, I'd say.
And from the ecosystem side of things, well, I'm trying to put like a few words of what is 2024. And what was 2023? I think 2023 is like the year of account abstraction. Everyone jumped on board, and but what's 2024? So for me, I think like cross-chain intents with account abstraction But also something from the side that's possibly a bit more unique to Sapphire is confidential NFTs. So I think I'll start on the confidential NFTs, which is at the moment when all the data is on chain, the NFTs themselves don't really have any inherent value. So really, I'd like to put contracts in control of who can access the data, so you can have private URLs like a full download versus the thumbnail, or working with IPFS, Arweave, or even like traditional Web 2 providers like Amazon S3 and all the compatible services to have contracts manage access to, well, it's not necessarily confidential data, it's data that you now own rather than data that just exists on the internet. So that's something we're nurturing. Secondly, cross-chain proofs and tighter integration with the Ethereum ecosystem. So that's how do we manage transactions across lots of different chains without necessarily relying on bridges or reducing the number of messages that have to go across lots of different chains. And this is something we're nurturing. So this is an agenda of let's make Sapphire useful to make lives simpler for people. And that's not just across Ethereum, but also the Polkadot and the Cosmos ecosystem. So through the signing and verification pre-compiles, this is something that we can do. And again, it's going to take some time to figure this out and make it a reality, but that's in store for 2024 for me. What do you think, Matej, about?
Yeah, so I would just add that, as Kerry said, we need to be mindful of how wide we stretch, with our resources. But it's always good, that we kind of help developers understand what's possible with Sapphire, right? And we kind of, just implement the little bug, that sparked the light bulb. And we already have, we have projects in pipeline on confidential voting, on confidential NFTs. Will was talking about zero-bit auctions. And these are all the interesting use cases, that can be done with Sapphire. We also have a few things interested in our version of CAN abstraction. So I can't share much because, we don't hide before we deploy. We integrate or deploy or partner with. So I'll officially. So I'll just say a lot of things in stores. But yeah, just stay tuned and you'll hear more as things roll out.
Nice. Thank you, guys. Okay, next we have a key manager question. I think today, could you join us and take this question? Thank you. Okay, so the question is, will the new key manager support smart contracts?
So if the question is whether the new key manager paradigm will support programmability with smart contracts, the answer is no. The new key manager will remain very minimal, and the biggest reason for that is to lessen the attack surface and ensure it is very, very hard to compromise it. Remember, like the key manager stores the secrets for the smart contract state, so it's critical that it remains uncompromised and the secrets are locked there. So the new key manager will be rolled out side by side with the existing key manager and support, of course, Sapphire and Cypher smart contracts. And these smart contracts will be able to choose between like the existing one and the new one. So like users will just have like more choice, basically. And the new key manager will offer increased security through support for threshold secret sharing keys. So these shares or shards will be held by different key manager operating entities, and it will require M out of M shares to be able to decrypt the secret or like the encrypted state. So basically, like what this enables is like even stronger protection if like up to N entities can be compromised, either entities or like their nodes or their servers, and still like one is not able to decrypt the state. So yeah, really looking forward to that in 2024.
Thank you for explaining that today. And since I have a few here, I think there's another question that's suited for you. Okay, main challenge seems to be getting the word out. There's also always new tech that gets developers excited, but end up producing nothing. Is Oasis sticking with trusted execution environments, or are you looking at fully homomorphic encryption and ZK?
Yeah, that's always a question of like, I think like, to be honest, like, yeah, there's a lot of hype around ZK, and like, particularly in some communities, like people are like very excited about, oh yeah, let's use ZK or like FHE, a bit less so, but like ZK, yeah, this is like this brand new mathematical thing, and like it's proofs, and these are like, you rely on trusted hardware. But in reality, these are just like tools, means to get privacy to the users. So let me explain. Basically, like people should not treat these things as like really competing against each other, because, for example, neither ZK nor FHE can have contracts which have their own secrets. So like you cannot store secrets if you use ZK or FHE. So you would need some sort of like a multi-party computation layer to store the secrets, which makes the things more complex again. Or like ZK and FHE, they're like computationally very expensive. So like you put the, like with ZK, you put the burden on the client, so like on the user, and the user needs to compute expensive proof, which can then be used like to verify some things were true, right? With TEs, it's basically you have almost native speed, basically of the computation you would have without using confidential state. Yeah, one other thing is like these things are like much more nascent. So like ZK and FHE, I think they're like still far from being production ready for all the use cases. FHE even more so. Like with FHE, like I think Zama is one project which has like a nice FHE library. They are now like doing integers and things like that. So like really very raw basic stuff. With these, like we are talking about like basically having general purpose computation. Like you can compute anything there. We just don't advise like doing, I don't know, like big machine learning things, or like some things that are better done off chain, right? But with ZK it's similar. Like it's not there yet. Like sure, like there's a lot of developers, and you need like, I don't know, PhD mathematicians to try to create those circuits and like all that. And sure, people are trying, but still, I think it's not there yet. It's not ready. And to end this on a positive note, basically, I think we are open to all this. We are open to ZK. We are open to FHE. Even like ZK and FHE, they can be augmented, improved with like using TEs for their like nodes, right? So we'll definitely use them. It's just like we don't see them as solving the user's needs for privacy and confidentiality right now.
Exactly. Thank you today for this. Okay, we're coming up to the 2-hour mark, but I think we can have some more questions real quick. Harry, would you like to come up on stage and answer this one? So the question is, Oasis suggests a variety of privacy features. In your opinion, which one has the greatest potential to be mass adopted in 2024?
That's a really good question. I think what I would like to see is like real privacy, the same kind of privacy that you have in the real world. So whenever you make a card payment, you get privacy from the merchant, so they can't see your entire financial history just because you pay them. From your bank, where lots of the data is it's separated by processes, and this is like legally mandated. And of course, you hope that they're doing it. In reality, I'm not sure. I prefer strong encryption guarantees over than the bank promises. And yeah, that stops people who work at the bank from accessing your history, but also all of the data that's on chain. You've got advertisers, you've got like malevolent actors like phishers who monitor your activity. And I think we're just starting to see the real world impact of that. So if there was one thing that I wanted for 2024, it's let's just have privacy. Like, maybe it has to be compliant privacy because that's the reality. But yeah, let's have this. I think that the other question is, well, we're starting to look at all the problems we've got over the past couple of years, and every month there's a new chain, there's a new token, and it's getting really, really, really complicated. So if someone can think of these questions of how can we simplify that, how can we be more user focused, so you don't have to worry about bridges and bridging from one chain and bridging to another chain. And when I'm in a dApp, I just want to press the button and select which assets that I've got, and behind the scenes it should just work. So if we want mass adoption, at the moment it's way too technically complicated for most people. So think of explaining this to your grandmother. And I think with intents and cross-chain stuff and account abstraction, we're getting a bit close to that. So I think that's what I'm thinking at the moment.
Yeah, thank you, Harry. Sorry, I'm browsing through a million tabs at the same time. Okay, this question I think would be suited for Will. Will, would you like to come up on stage?
Hello.
Thank you for still being here. How many dev teams are working dApps involving Sapphire or OPL?
Yeah, I guess that's like somewhat of a hard question because we obviously are aware of the partners that we have in our grants. But even if you look at, the Dev Central chat in Discord, there's lots of people, asking questions and talking about things that they're developing, whether they're sort of Opal applications or Sapphire applications. I would say, the major applications we've gone over so far, but you also have products outside of our sort of grant system, like Imperial, who is part of our hackathon. Another one I think that's still working on development is Space Tar. We also had a sealed bid auction application in our hackathon that I think is still building. So, I would say at least if I had to guess, at least 15 sort of different projects are being worked on right now. But it's really hard to get a rough estimation of how many and how many will get production ready and what sort of fields those applications are on, because they're being built sort of silently. But that's sort of the goal, right, of any ecosystem, is you want to get to this point of mass where you can't be aware of every application that's being built. It's not like the Ethereum Foundation knows every application that's being built on Ethereum, or on Arbitrum they're aware of every single application that's built there. So that's sort of an exciting sign for our ecosystem, is that people are just excited to build and sort of going off on their own and doing it. And when the products are ready, we'll be able to announce them and offer them all the support that we offer any of our sort of ecosystem projects.
Nice. Very well answered, Will, I might say. One more question for you, and after this, we're wrapping up the Q&A. What's the team plan toward the front runner of the hackathon projects in bringing them to reality? Are there any form of grant to those devs willing to deploy the projects on Sapphire?
Yeah, so I think over the last few weeks, I've been reaching out to a lot of the hackathon participants, trying to schedule meetings and see what their future plans are. Some of the projects just built their products for the hackathon just to play with it. Hopefully they saw the potential. In fact, I know that a lot of them saw the potential of Sapphire, and maybe they're not planning on building a production ready app of what they built for the hackathon, but maybe they're looking to build something different. But yeah, we're exploring grants with at least, I would say, 3 to 4 of the hackathon projects, and the sort of process to get the KPIs, the grant amounts, the contracts, all that. It takes some time. So those announcements, when they're ready, will come out. But yeah, we're definitely looking to sort of empower these early adopters of our ecosystem, and look for the applications that have sort of ecosystem value and support them in the best way that we can. So hopefully more announcements coming soon on that end.
Nice. Thank you, Will. Okay, I think we have one more question. Give me just a moment. Sorry, my tab froze. Actually, this was the last question. Sorry. Thank you, Will. Thank you for answering the questions. I guess we can wrap up. We've passed the 2-hour mark. This was a long town hall, but we did have a lot of updates for everyone. Okay, let me just find my camera tab. I have too many tabs and monitors here. So as we come to the close of our community town hall, I just want to take a moment to reflect on the incredible journey we had together throughout this year. The insights and updates from each department have given us a comprehensive view of the progress, the challenges, and of course the aspirations of our network. But first and foremost, I'd like to express our heartfelt gratitude to each member of the Oasis community, because you really are the driving force behind the success of our network. Your presence is invaluable, and we're grateful to have you with us on this journey. But looking back on the updates provided today, it's obvious that we have achieved significant milestones in terms of technological advancements, of partnerships, and of course of community initiatives. The state of the network is robust, and the recent engineering upgrades paved the way for an even more resilient and efficient Oasis ecosystem. And for example, Harry's live demo of account abstraction shows how we're pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the blockchain space. The BD updates show our commitment to building a thriving ecosystem with a diverse range of collaborators. Of course, the insights into marketing and community efforts showcase the dynamism of our community. As Patrick covered, the smart privacy campaign, the conferences and online events have not only raised awareness about the project, but have also fostered a sense of community that I can say is truly special. And as I discussed the updates on community programs, this is including the revamp of the ambassador program, the Oasis Sentinels, the Odyssey campaign, and the amazing Oasis Academy. I just want to say that your participation in these programs is crucial, and we're very excited about the positive impact they continue to have on our community. Our lovely head of HR, Andrea, provided the glimpse into the heart of Oasis and our culture. And as she said, the recent offsites and the introduction of new team members really emphasized our dedication to fostering a nurturing and innovative work environment. As you can see, the team is growing, and we're more than excited about the future endeavors that will shape our network. And as we close this town hall, I want to leave you with a sense of anticipation for the future. The coming year holds immense promise for our project, and your involvement will be pivotal in shaping its trajectory. The decentralized journey is a collective one, and with each step, we're making strides towards a more inclusive, secure, and innovative digital future. So thank you once again for being a part of the Oasis community. Your passion and your commitment inspire us every day. So here's to a successful and prosperous 2024 for the Oasis network. Stay engaged, stay decentralized, and let's continue to build something extraordinary together. Thank you, everyone.